In this volume, I have Kurtzman talking authentic Trek, Michelle Yeoh at the Met Gala, some great pictures shared by Todd Stashwick out and about and running into friends. Plus, could warp drive be a reality sooner than we think? This and so much more on this, the 43rd volume of the Star Trek Void, where I try to fill in the gaps between new episodes with a little news, some information, and hopefully a little entertainment. And of course, this week we are starting off with, thanks to TrekMovie.com, of course, some birthdays. And our first birthday is someone I did not even know was in Trek, but is apparently a big fan. Happy birthday to longtime Star Trek fan Tom Bergeron, who guest stars on Star Trek Enterprise twice. Hashtag DWTS, Hollywood Squares and Entertainment Tonight. So yeah, I remember both of these characters. Their names escape me at this very moment. But happy birthday to Tom. Glad to have you as part of the family. And another one where they were a kid on the original series and came back later playing an adult role. Happy birthday to Brian Tochi, who was 9 when he was on Star Trek TOS and The Children Shall Lead. He appeared on Star Trek TNG over 20 years later in Night Terrors. So a very happy birthday to Brian. So cool that you got to be at it twice. Now, occasionally I like to include some fun images of our stars, either behind the scenes on the show or out and about doing their own thing. And there's some cool ones coming. First one is Michelle Yeoh at the Met Gala. And I find this space-age tinfoil looking dress oddly appropriate considering she'll be on a Star Trek Section 31 here very shortly. This one is shared by TrekMovies.com. Michelle Yeoh at Met Gala in a sci-fi gown. Hashtag Star Trek. Now, this share is from Star Trek Hold, they say. When Johnathan Frakes returned to work on season 2 of Discovery, he brought pies with him. Oh, well, I'd want him working on my stuff. Gee whiz, yeah. These incredible pies were made by Toronto-based baker and designer Arlo Designs. Oh, yeah, definitely. Arlo Designs. Excellent. This is fantastic. I like the little space background there. And, of course, our logo. Beautiful, wonderful. Now, Todd has been jet setting through Europe these last few weeks, and he's put up some fun pictures. I do love a good stone circle. So let's start with this one here. Todd Stashwick shares of ancient architecture and Roman baths and Druid rivalry from Stonehenge to Beltane. And of course, there we've got Stonehenge right behind him in this first image. And I believe that is Lady Stashwick, as he likes to refer to his wife. Beautiful architecture. Oh, love when you can see like the very, very, and I already said it, but the old architecture, original architecture from, I don't know, things that start with the sentence ye old. Oh, I'm not sure what this is, a festival in the garden or, I don't know. We're showing off a bowl. Maybe she's got a little fish in there. If you know, let me know below. And just a walk through the garden, a nice little brick path. We've got a zoo nearby that they do a lot of walking through, but with the plants overgrown like that. But I don't think we get a brick path. And I don't know, lady garden person there. We've got maybe Mother Nature. Elves and fairy creature here. Oh yes, he was going to visit where Tolkien, a town of Tolkien, so I'm guessing this is a Tolkien thing happening. Definitely looks like we could have some dwarves and hobbits rolling around. Walking down the street here. Moving along from that great music that has a good beat, but I'm not sure you can dance to it. Site of King Arthur's tomb. Oh, very nice. Site of King Arthur's tomb in the year 1191. The bodies of King Arthur and his queen were said to have been found on the south side of the Lady Chapel. On 19th April of 1278, their remains were removed in the presence of King Edward I and Queen Eleanor to a black marble tomb on the site. This tomb survived until the dissolution of the abbey in 1539. I watch and read too many things about England, and I'm fairly sure I know that. One of those things back in the noggin years ago. Very cool. This looks cathedral-ish, yes, like the remains of a cathedral. All that survived is this incredible archway work. Very, very cool. And they're either Midsummer Night's Dreaming or they're Tolkiening. Having a little something to have, to drink, to eat, there at the table. Okay, I admit those were kind of corny, but good news. The next ones are cornier. because this one is shared by both Todd Stashwick and Ed Speleers. Yes. It says a captain and a thief went to Glastonbury and formed a band. Here is the photo shoot for the album cover. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Templars, Star Trek Picard and Star Trek Legacy. And here we've got, yeah, we've got Todd and Ed just chilling out. I feel like Ed's just standing behind him doing a pose like that. But yeah, let's see what else we got. Okay, looking up at something. I am digging those glasses, Todd. I don't know what they're looking at, but it's got their attention. And there we go. Oh, and was Lady Stashwick with these two? And he just separated the pictures. One's like a family album. The other one is a little hype for Star Trek, which, Star Trek Legacy. So I'm all for it. Nice image. And after we've had a long walk through the forest, of course, we need to go and have a drink. So there they are having some drinks. And yeah, still having some drinks, looking around, enjoying the ambience of the room, I'm sure. And if you aren't already aware, Todd Stashwick loves to do a morning coffee at like 8:30, whatever that time is where he is. If he's in Germany, it's 8:30 in Germany. If he's in California, it's 8:30 in California. So you must adjust your clocks. Lately, he's been doing them at like 3:30 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning for me. And I adore you, Todd, but I'm going to watch it afterwards when it's recorded and up to view on your reels. Those of you who are brave, though, yeah, 4:30, 5:30, 3:30, it's kind of wherever he happens to be, wherever the 8:30 is there. Now, next up, I am going to share another article by TrekMovie.com. Gotta love them. They're a great source. And they write up some fun articles about interviews that have been done. And this one is all about Alex Kurtzman and what he sees going forward after the end of Discovery. So here we go. As the header for the article, Alex Kurtzman says there's an infinite number of Star Trek stories to tell, but new shows must be authentic. And he has said a couple of things. We had a couple of articles on what Kurtzman has to say about the future of Star Trek, but I do like that this one kind of discusses what he wants to see going forward and why, because a lot of us are still waiting to find out if Star Trek Legacy is ever going to happen. We're still regularly fighting for it. In fact, the Letters for Legacy crew will be in Germany this weekend for FedCon to do just that. So what Alex Kurtzman has to say here is kind of important. Even if he can't pull the strings to make it happen, his voice, you've got to know, he's going to have a strong voice in the fight for the next shows. And so this quote here, it holds a lot of weight, at least to me. I only want to make another Star Trek show if there's something special to say. I don't want to do it just to do more. I think that would be a huge disservice to Star Trek. I agree. It would be a huge disservice to the fans. I think the fans would feel it instantaneously. They would know this is not authentic because if there was one thing that Star Trek fans know, it's authenticity. So for me, it's really just about figuring out a way to make sure that we take our time, we're deliberate, we're thoughtful, and we deliver on the promise of something different every time. So I do understand what he's trying to say. He doesn't want to make a story just to have something to put on the television or our streaming services, whatever we may happen to watch it on. But at the same time, he admits there are plenty of stories to be told. The reason that I push so hard for Star Trek Legacy to come out is I think that it could be the TNG of my daughter's generation. The next generation got people who, like myself, grew up with reruns of the original series and loved getting new entertainment. And it was just the jumping point for shows like DS9 and Voyager and eventually even Enterprise down the road. While Discovery did open up that avenue for a new generation, it's the ones that touch your heart and make you feel like you're going to be part of it. My daughter just a little too young for Discovery, and quite frankly, right now she's at prodigy age. But by the time Star Trek Legacy came out, she'd be about 10 years old, I think, between if they greenlit it today, wrote everything, and then filmed everything and put it out. It'd probably be a good year and a half, 2 years. She'll be 9 this June, so we've got some time. But she'd be old enough to grow up with it. It would be her show. And I really do think that a female-led cast, but with some really strong male characters, it can truly be something that our daughters and our sons could really enjoy and grow up appreciating just as much as we appreciated Picard and Riker and Troy and Yar and Crusher and, of course, Data and Geordi. I could keep going because then there's Worf. And for me, at my age, Wesley, I mean, somebody who understood computers as well as I did. It was perfect. It was great. I would love my daughter to have someone to look up to like that. And I don't have to necessarily throw on her Wesley. She loves Seven of Nine and thinks that she is a fantastic captain already. So continuing that story to me, That's why it's a big deal. However, it's not like if they don't greenlight Legacy today that we don't have lots of Star Trek to look forward to, because as this article points out, we do have a picture of what's coming in the short term after Discovery wraps up later this month. The Star Trek Section 31 streaming movie starring Michelle Yeoh is already completed filming, but no release date has been set. We're fairly sure it's coming out at the end of this year, though. The third season of Strange New Worlds is currently filming, and that will arrive next year. We don't know when. A fourth season has already been ordered for it as well. Paramount Plus has also recently decided the upcoming fifth season of the animated adult comedy Star Trek Lower Decks, due out this fall, will be the last. The animated series Star Trek Prodigy has moved from Paramount to Netflix, which we are very keenly aware of, with the already completed season 2 expected sometime this year. And no decision yet on if they will commission more, which, by the way, was supposed to be this spring. Spring's almost over. Hopefully they get to that pretty soon. I think that was also stated in this article, but I'm not seeing it in front of me. I just want to let you know. Getting tired of waiting, guys. Finally, the YA-focused Star Trek Starfleet Academy series is set to start filming later this summer, but that may not arrive until 2026. So we do have some Star Trek coming still. Obviously, it's not like we're going to go through a 5-year drought unless Paramount doesn't get something going. And speaking of that, that's going to bring me to one, my art of the week, or at least of this volume, and a continuation of the drama going on with Paramount Global. So if you made it this far, thanks so much for joining me. If you don't want to hear any more about Paramount, gotcha, no problem. Although you might want to skip ahead because I am going to be talking about Warp Drive before I head off. But for the rest of you sticking around, this is my art for the week share. And normally I pick semi-professional or amateur artists who share a really great image they cooked up for fun. This week, yeah, this one was fun, so I'm sharing it, even though I don't believe it's by an unknown artist. This one is shared by TrekMovie.com for the latest Paramount Global Corporate Chaos update. At THR portrays the 3 new co-CEOs on the bridge of a troubled Star Trek starship with no one in the captain's chair. So yes, The Hollywood Reporter gives us this, as Paramount steers into the unknown. David Ellison woos A-listers to boost flagging bid. Okay, so what we've got right now. We thought we had Skydance kind of in the pocket after Backish got kicked out, but apparently Sony isn't just seeing the sidelines. They're actively giving bids. And then Sony did that and their stock dropped. As shared by this poster, Mark Hartel at Sharkster1701. Interesting, Sony stock dropped 5% over concerns over the Paramount purchase offer. Analysts believe the price of $26 billion way too high. Oh, the drama, the ridiculousness. They await details on how the deal is structured, but this could throw a wrench into things. The saga is continuing. Now, I can't say I haven't enjoyed trying to keep up to date on what's going on with Paramount Global, because every time I do a search, half the stuff they contradict each other. It's too ridiculous. But yes, so we've got Skydance that possibly is going to be still in the running, but now Sony is wanting to be part of it, but the people aren't too happy about it. I just want to know how this is going to affect Star Trek. As we can see, I've got yet another article up, Paramount Global to pursue simultaneous talks with Sony Apollo and Skydance as M&A drama drags on. Yes, we're aware. We would really like an answer because we just want to know what's happening. I'm sure they do too, and I feel very bad for the employees of Paramount Global because from day to day they must wonder, am I going to have a job tomorrow? Which, was kind of going that way for some places anyway in the Paramount Global group. But to not know who is going to own you next month, who is going to own your company, who is going to have control over the choices made, that has got to just be unnerving. So my heart goes out to everyone who is employed by Paramount Global, Skydance, or Sony Apollo. Honestly, it's just hanging in there, and hopefully we'll have an answer soon. Until then, I've got something kind of fun, especially if you're a science folk. I grew up with a science teacher for my mom. She was my mom, and then, of course, she was a science teacher. In case you were wondering, no, teachers don't live at the school, and I got to answer that question a lot when I was in elementary school. However, professors, smart guys, thought warp fields sound like a good idea. In 1994, Mexican physicist Miguel Alcubierre, published a groundbreaking paper that laid out how a real-life warp drive could work. This exciting development came with a major caveat, however. The proposed Alcubierre drive required negative energy, an exotic substance that may or may not exist, or perhaps the harnessing of dark energy, the mysterious force that seems to be causing the universe's accelerated expansion. So yes, a possibility, but we don't have the right fuel, which is why this is what's really cool. Now, a new paper in the same journal suggests that a warp drive may not require exotic negative energy at all. This study changes the conversion about warp drives. Lead author Jared Fuchs of the University of Alabama, Huntsville, and the research think tank Applied Physics said in a statement, "By demonstrating a first-of-its-kind model, we've shown that warp drives might not be relegated to science fiction." The team's model uses a sophisticated blend of traditional and novel gravitational techniques to create a warp bubble that can transport objects at high speeds within the bounds of known physics, according to the statement. Now, while all that sounds very, very cool, the one disappointing statement in this: the proposed engine could not achieve faster than light travel, though it could come close. The statement mentions high but subliminal. This article does say, while this is promising information, don't get too excited. We're not ready for interstellar travel yet. While we're not preparing for interstellar voyages, this research heralds a new era of possibilities. Gianna Martier, CEO of Applied Physics, said in the same statement, "We're continuing to make steady progress as humans embark on the warp age." As a race, we're still crawling, possibly still mastering army crawl before we're up on all fours, but we are working towards it, which is so cool for future generations, like my daughter, who thinks that she wants to be a doctor, painter, singer, astronomer, archaeologist, paleontologist, and astronaut. I mean, if it were Star Trek time, she'd be all set, right? Get a job on a starship and go through training. She'd have a great life. If only we would catch up to my daughter's imagination. And that is all I have for today, this 43rd volume of the Star Trek Void. If you are a new viewer, hi, and thanks so much for joining me on yet another volume. I try to give you guys a little bit of fun information. If you've enjoyed the video, be sure you give me a like down below. If you've been coming here and haven't decided yet, please give me a subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you know when the next video is out. Do be aware that I also do updates for a show called Outlander. It airs on Stars, and I knew that. I had to think about it for a second. So you will get notifications for those videos as well. Now, if you didn't get enough Star Trek information or want to check out those Outlander videos to see what the heck I'm talking about, please do check out any of those videos here. Special thanks to all of my members and patrons. You know how much I appreciate your time. I do have some announcements for you coming up this week, so do check those out. And if you do decide to check out one of those other videos, then I will see you there. Site of King Arthur's tomb in the year 1919. And if you aren't already aware, don't forget Todd Stashwick loves to do a morning. They await details on how yeah, it's too funny. I'm sorry, I can't get through it. You know I'm gonna mess up the last name, guys. You know it's gonna happen. Okay. So promising and very cool for the future generations who will probably have to escape this earth because we're destroying it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut that.